Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday afternoon, we just got the concrete confirmation that President Trump's economic policies have saved the American economy. And so right now, all of the far left progressive propaganda media outlets are absolutely melting down. As you all know, for months now, the progressive left has been swearing up and down that President Trump's America First agenda would destroy the American economy, and now they're being forced to eat their words big time. You see, just yesterday afternoon, the S&P 500 smashed an all-time high record, proving beyond any doubt that President Trump's policies are absolutely crushing it for America. Now, take a look at this CNN clip from just yesterday afternoon as markets were set to come to a close. Let it play.
We're on the verge of a major market milestone. Both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are on track for all-time highs. This would be the first record high for the S&P since
wild,
February.
Considering the drops that you were on just talking about last month.
It's been an absolutely unbelievable ride. I've never covered anything quite like this. Look at this chart.
Yeah.
This is the S&P just since this year started. And look at that epic sell-off back in March and April. That's because investors were freaking out about the president's Liberation Day tariffs. This market meltdown was so bad that some people on Wall Street were calling it Obliteration Day, right? Traders, economists, investors, Fed officials, everyone was worried that those sky-high tariffs were going to cause a recession. But then what happened? What caused the market to start to go straight up? April 9th, the president walked back those tariffs, and the market's really been on fire ever since then.
So, ladies and gentlemen, CNN is actually trying to argue that the economy is doing so well not because of President Trump's tariffs, but because he's canceled some of his tariffs. Absolutely ridiculous. Once again, CNN is absolutely grasping at straws here, and we all know the truth is, most of President Trump's tariffs are still in full effect, driving an economic boom that we haven't seen in decades. Here's the reality. The S&P 500 has just hit this all-time record high because of massive gains in technology, energy, and industrial sectors that President Trump himself has deliberately built up with his genius economic plan. You see, here's the unfortunate truth for the folks over at CNN. The markets don't lie. Either your economic policies work or they don't. And right now, the markets are absolutely screaming that President Trump's approach is amazing. In fact, as things currently stand, the S&P 500 is way higher today than it was when President Trump stepped into office around 6 months ago. 100% proving that his policies are reviving an economy that sleepy Joe Biden and the Democrats left for dead. And now, folks, we have a lot more to talk about here, but first, I want to say real quick that if you guys enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. But okay, check this out. The good news just keeps on coming in. President Trump's tariffs, in essence, have forced foreign nations to come back to the negotiating table, securing brand new trade deals that actually put American workers first. And on top of that, in just the last 3 months alone, President Trump's strategic trade policies have slashed the U.S. trade deficit in half, boosting our manufacturing and creating tens of thousands of jobs here at home in the United States. And as if all of that wasn't enough, we have also now had 4 consecutive months of jaw-dropping job creation that blew past the predictions of the so-called experts. Plus, we've also had 4 straight months of decreasing rates of inflation. The truth is, President Trump's tariff-based trade negotiations and increased focus on American energy production has stabilized prices, crushing inflation fears and fueling the market gains that are making America rich again for the first time in decades. And so, folks, at this point, I want you all to take a listen to what none other than Stephen Miller had to say about all of this. Let it play.
So as the president has said, The United States has the most coveted market on the face of the earth. Everybody wants to do business in America, especially now that President Trump is here. Everybody wants to sell their goods into America. We are the largest, most dominant, most lucrative market. That gives us leverage. That allows us to say to a foreign country, if you want access to our market, you have to pay a fee. That fee, in turn, what will it do? It will pay down our deficit. It will pay down our debt. It will allow us to lower taxes on Americans, as we are doing right now with the big, beautiful bill. In other words, part of the beauty of the tariffs is they are paying for the tax cuts in that legislation. Yeah, yes, there will be some deals with countries. The president made a historic deal with the United Kingdom that is a massive win for American farmers, ranchers, and agriculture. And I'm sure you will see more deals in the coming days. I will also note, as is now universally acknowledged, not only did the tariffs not create inflation, inflation is back down. Inflation has been defeated. So our economy is soaring, jobs are being created, American workers are going back to work, the labor force is growing again, inflation is gone, and our manufacturing jobs are coming back to the United States where they belong.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Everything he just said is absolutely right. President Trump's economic policies are an absolute masterclass in what it looks like to actually put America first, and so as you all can see, they're delivering unmatched results. But hey, if you all remember back to April of 2025, just a couple months ago, CNN was just fear-mongering all day, claiming that President Trump's economic policies would tank the markets. And as a quick reminder, take a look at this.
Out front tonight, the breaking news, a wipeout. $2.5 trillion today gone in the rout on Wall Street in response to Trump's trade war against 185 countries. And right now, as you look around this ripple around the world, sort of it's like a tsunami rolling around, markets overseas mostly all in the red. And Trump today, meantime, was on the golf course. His Doral Golf Club in Florida hosted the Saudi-owned Live Golf Tournament. So that's where he was. While he was on his way, he was asked about the crisis on Wall Street.
A lot of people were upset today about how their 401ks were doing. Do you have investments when you look at
I think our markets are going to boom.
Well, folks, as it would turn out, President Trump was right and all of the left-wing propagandists were wrong. Let's be honest here for a moment. Beyond delivering massive results in the stock market, President Trump's America First economic policies have reshored manufacturing. They've created tens of thousands of jobs, maybe even hundreds of thousands, and they've turned our economy into a powerhouse that now the entire world envies. The truth is, every single economic metric, job creation, inflation, trade deficits, stock market, all of them are screaming that President Trump's economic policies are working in ways that we haven't seen for decades now. For years now, the Democrats and the rhinos and the globalists just stood by and watched our economy rot, shipping jobs overseas and burying the U.S. in bad trade deals. But President Trump has flipped that script, and now he's actually putting America back on top. Over the last couple of months, President Trump has been able to leverage the might of the American economy in order to renegotiate brand new trade deals with countries worldwide, ensuring that they actually benefit American workers rather than a bunch of foreign elites. And so, folks, I don't know about you, but personally, when we talk about putting America first, it's stuff like this that is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up, I do want to say real quick that we officially have a Morse News Twitter page as well as a Morse News Facebook page. So if you use either of those platforms, please go down below and drop a follow in order to get breaking news updates that relate to everything we talk about here in the YouTube videos. But everyone, that is going to be a wrap for today's video, so please go down below and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this. Please like the video while you're down there, and like I said earlier, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. Thank you all very much for tuning in today, and of course, as always, stay safe.